Y'all can't fix me. I'm unbreakable. Ah, it actually hurt. It actually hurt. What's up, guys? Mikey here, and welcome to the Comic Junkies Corner, and we're here to talk about Luke Cage, the hero in a hoodie. And I have my hoodie on in honor of our hero in a hoodie, which I'm going to take off right now because it is hot as frick. It's a little too hot. I feel more like a member of Organization 13 than I do Luke Cage, but if you got that reference, thumbs up. But anyway, we're here to talk about Luke Cage, the series that just aired on Netflix, not aired on Netflix, but just premiered on Netflix not too long ago. I think it's been about 3 weeks now from when I'm recording this video. When you see this video, that'll be a different story, but when I'm recording this, it's been about 2 weeks now. I had fall break over the weekend, so I finished some of my homework early and decided I was like, oh, I'll watch Luke Cage, and I gotta say I was impressed. I will be the first person to say I was extremely skeptical going into this show. I was not expecting it to be as good as it was, but it actually was pretty decent. And you know, like, Luke Cage deals more with your hood, your gangs and your hoodlums and stuff like that when you see him, and it worked. I'm not going to lie, it really worked. It's kind of the same way I felt about Jessica Jones, but in Jessica Jones is a different story to me. It focuses more on a person than it does on a superhero, and Marvel has been doing really good with that, in my personal opinion. With these shows that they've been coming out with, is focusing more on the characters, and this is a very character-driven show. We got some good characters. Luke obviously is badass. You just gotta admit, like, anything he does is just badass. I mean, he just sits there and does nothing, and it's badass. So, but yeah, you have Claire that returns. She is pretty much your connection between the various TV shows. You have Daredevil, and you have season 1 and 2 of Daredevil. You have Jessica Jones, and now we have Luke Cage. She might appear in Iron Fist. I don't know, but it's actually really cool. Like, she's kind of like this Agent Coulson type character, and how she bounces from one show to the other. Just kind of like plays that melding glue that puts them all together. I gotta say, and you guys already know there's going to be spoilers in this video, but as far as her character, I was kind of a little disappointed that she had actually became a love interest. I was kind of hoping she wouldn't, not just for, the character's sake. It was just more so I felt like she was better. She was a really good support for all of the heroes and in these shows. She was good support for Jessica, because she was random support for Jessica. I'll mind you. I mean, not trying to get into Jessica Jones here, but like, it was very random. Like, oh wow, and then she actually played a pretty decent integral role. But support for Daredevil and his crew there, and support for Luke Cage. I mean, she's always been that supporting character, and she has she's a love interest now. She has been a love interest in Daredevil before. If you watch the series, she has been, but she strayed away from that, and I kind of liked it. I preferred it that way. But she gets with Luke. No problems, whatever. It didn't hurt her character all that much, which there are several shows where people become love interests, and then it's just like, it kind of just doesn't work anymore. They don't function as their own character anymore, and it's kind of messed up, but that doesn't happen, so that's good. There is a crime boss, Cottonmouth. Cottonmouth's the dude I was scared of in school. That's just he grows to be the dude I was scared of in school, but he is before then, if you've watched the show, hopefully you've watched the show because I'm going to spoil the crap out of it. But before then, he's not. He is just your average kid. He plays the piano. He aspires to be something better than what he turned out to be. And he doesn't. And it's unfortunate for him. But, let's be real. It takes place in Harlem. I mean, let's be real. Let's be absolutely real here. It's hard. It's hard to get out of like a hood situation. That's where you grew up. He grew up in a family that, thrived on power and respect. And he was forced into that life, even though I don't think he really wanted to. And that happens to a lot of people. There's a good message in the show about that, but that happens to a lot of people, not just black people, but anybody. That happens to people. They're just forced into situations and forced into lifestyles that they may not necessarily want to be forced into. And then they have this vendetta about them. They have this chip on their shoulder, and you get to understand why he despises Luke Cage so much. And it's not just about he's a good guy and whatever, because there's people that are telling him dude, let it go, just whatever, stop wasting all your resources on this guy. It's not worth it, because if you know the character Luke Cage, he's bulletproof. He has impenetrable skin for the most part, and you're not going to beat him with what you have at your disposal at this current point in time. My lighting is screwing up all of a sudden. I don't know what that's about. Sorry about that. But anyway, you're not going to take on Luke Cage. That's like taking on Wolverine. Come on. You're not going to beat him. But there's this thing he has to be on top because that's what he was brought out to be. He was brought out to say power is... power is everything. Power and money, that's everything. That's how he was brought up. That's the lifestyle he was forced into. Was somebody's forcing him out of that lifestyle. Yeah, it's it screws with him. It just messes with him because he feels like he needs to be on top of everything. And when Luke Cage came around and showed him that he wasn't, yeah, it was a big deal. So it messed with him on a psychological level. And it was sad because something happens to him that I just did not expect. But he also has a cousin who's she was a politician. She's a politician. She is trying to better Harlem for the most part. That's her story anyway. She's trying to better Harlem and make affordable housing, not have these projects and stuff around and stuff like that. But she's doing it very underhandedly, and obviously she's in bed. Oh, that was a poor choice of words. That is a poor choice of words. I'm glad I didn't finish that sentence. No, she is in cohorts. That's better. You're not gonna let me live that down, are you? She is in cohorts with her cousin in terms of how she gets funding and how she gets the money to handle all of this, fund her campaign and stuff like that. And put it this way: to fund the campaign, she gets money from her cousin, and her cousin gets money from as protection fee. If you guys seen all the mobster TV shows and movies and stuff like that, you know that there's a protection fee. If you own a business or some sort, they're going to come to you and it's okay, you can pay us this much and nothing will happen to you. You pay us this much every time we come around and nothing will happen to you. If you don't, well, we can't promise that you'll be safe and stuff like that. So that, he does that. There's obviously arms deals going on and drug deals and stuff. Well, I don't think drugs. I think drugs was was out of it because there was a scene there where you saw somebody was dealing drugs and that was no, but arms deals, shakedowns, stuff like that, cops on payroll, all of that, all of your typical mob TV tropes and stuff like that, except We just replaced the Italians with black people. I'm not trying to be racist here, but like that's really what it is. Like you replace the Italians. Like when you had Gotham, you had Maroni and Salvatore Maroni and the other guy Carmine Falcone. You had a group of Italians. You replace the Italians with black people. That's essentially what you have in Luke Cage, and it works. It really does. It really works. And you do have this kind of vibe of the old, like, 1970s. So I grew up with my grandmother, so I watched all of these, all of these movies. But like the Shaft and other types of like movies and TV shows like that, where you have the black superhero. It's cheesy at times. Some of the dialogue is cheesy. Some of the acting is over the top. But it always had like this good message. And for the most part, most of them had a really good message. And other ones, and you always had the cool black hero. That's Luke Cage. Luke Cage is the cool black hero. He's the one all the women want to get with, obviously. I mean, look at the dude. I mean, it's no wonder why like women are physically attracted to that guy. I mean, obviously, he's a badass. He is literally a badass. It's just like obviously, it's no telling. Men are probably attracted to him too. So it kind of feeds into that. And I thought that was really cool. If you don't like those type of movies, you may not be on board with the show that much. Because like I said, you do have your cheesiness. You do have your over-the-top acting and stuff like that. But it works. It really works. Especially Shades. Shades always talking like this whispered voice. He's like, yeah, we gotta go do this. Man, you need to lay off Luke Cage. You're getting sloppy, man. You can't be doing stuff like that. Diamondback isn't going to stand for this kind of stuff. I mean, he talks just like that. He talks like that all the time, and it's to the point where it's almost funny. But at times you see, like, okay, it's a little menacing at times. You kind of argue like most villains are kind of like that anyway. In any incantation of villain, they're going to have some over-the-topness. They're going to have some cheesiness to them. Even like the really scary ones. Even they're just like in any type of movie, TV show that you see, like, okay, yeah, they get over the top and they're kind of scary. I still wouldn't mess with them, But yeah, like getting back to Cottonmouth, he served as a very good villain up until about halfway through the show, where he meets his end. Excuse me. It was extremely unexpected. Because he and his cousin had been arguing. And it has a lot to do with Luke Cage. But it also has a lot to do with like them always resenting each other to a certain degree. I feel like the cousin, what is her name? I'm trying to remember what her name is. Mariah Dillard? I think that's her name. I know her name's Mariah, but she's kind of envious of the power he has. I don't know if anyone else caught that, but I definitely caught them. Like, she's envious of the power he has and like how he can get away with stuff, but she really can't. And he's envious of how she was brought up because she went to all the good schools. She was always pushed to be the good person while he was pushed to be the bad person. And it's very obvious that happens throughout the series. Anyway, she goes through a lot of stuff. And eventually she just snaps. It is completely just, whoa. You don't expect it. You do not expect her to snap. But she just snaps. And winds up killing her her cousin, Cottonmouth. And I'm just sitting there like, what? Did you just do that? What? What? What happened? The main villain's dead now. What are we going to do? But we get another villain that comes out and then winds up being Diamondback. But, and it was just one of the most unexpected turns in the show that really I did not see coming. If anything, I thought it was going to be the other way around. It was setting it up to be the other way around. I was sure that Cottonmouth was going to kill Mariah at some point in the show, and it just 180'd it. And she's helped to cover it up, but to cover it up, they blame Luke Cage, and they make it look like he kind of did it. And there's certain people that are skeptical of it and stuff, but yeah. I don't know. Maybe you guys saw it coming. I didn't, but like I really thought that it was going to be the other way around. But anyway, we get a person who's been mentioned throughout the show, but he don't really see him up until like the Cottonmouth death, and that is Diamondback, who is the main villain. It is pretty much, it's not who Cottonmouth answers to, but you can tell that Cottonmouth's kind of, he's not afraid, but doesn't want to go to war with him. So it's one of those like, I respect you enough not to go to war with you. And there's other people in there like that. There's a Hispanic, I can't remember what his name is, but there's a Hispanic, kind of, I guess you would call him a mob boss or whatever. God's not really scared of him. You can tell like he holds back a lot of anger and stuff when he's dealing with them, but he's just kind of like, you know what? I don't want to go to war with you because I don't want to ruin Harlem. You know, like they all have this facade or this thing that they're helping Harlem, so they don't want to cause mass murders and stuff like that. There's another character I didn't talk about since we on the topic of murder. There is another character who's introduced in very early on in the show, in the first episode. His name's Pops. Now, if you watch TV, if you watch movies, you know he's going to die. I got you. To be perfectly honest, everything sets it up for him to die. From the very first time when he is introduced, it's like, yeah, he's going to die. So you can argue that, you know, it's still like, even though you've seen it before, you can still kind of get attached to the character a little bit. But because it's so blatantly obvious that he's going to, it's one of those like, I don't get emotionally attached to him, especially when he starts going into his backstory of how he changed and now he wants to make everything a better place. I'm like, yep, you're gonna die. You are dead. You are dead. You are dead the moment they cut to you and I saw you, and like, I knew you were gonna die. I knew it. And yeah, he does. But Cottonmouth has a soft spot for him and doesn't really care for just be honest, he doesn't really care for that mass murder, shoot ups type stuff. And like, it seems that when he handled something, it would be more or less covert, except for the time where he actually shot a rocket launcher at at Luke. That probably be the one time that I felt like he didn't handle things more discreetly. I was just kind of like, did you just shoot? Where the frick did you get a rocket? I mean, it was kind of came out of nowhere. You know, as with a lot of things in this show, it kind of comes out of nowhere. But yeah, he just takes a rocket launcher, boom, shoots Luke Cage. And but anyway, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, he dies early on in the show, and because of one of Cottonmouth's not associates but lackeys for the most part, his right hand. And of course, Cottonmouth feels a certain way, and it's just like, okay, you're done. So Cottonmouth kills him, and I got way off track, but going back to Diamondback. Now, here's where I thought like things got drew a extreme parallel, because here's where you start going into Luke Cage's backstory much deeper when you finally see Diamondback, aka Willis Stryker, who winds up being his brother, half brother anyway. And there was always that resentment, and very old story. How one brother was treated better than the other and got more quote unquote love than the other and stuff like that. the father issues and stuff like that. It's very by the book. Let's be real. It's by the book, but it's played pretty well. You kind of buy into Diamondback's madness a little bit because he is extremely crazy and unstable. But it became a little too familiar. Reason being is that, Luke Cage was dipped into a tank where he got his powers, he was experimented on, and all of a sudden, after so many years, is hunted down by a guy named Stryker. I don't want to say that's any type of familiarity. I don't want to, I can't say that, there's no parallels I'm trying to draw here. I'm just, Wolverine. So no, I'm kidding. There's a lot of parallels with Wolverine. It's almost like the Wolverine story to a certain degree. It was like, well, whatever. Whatever. I did think it was very ironic, but it was, all in all, I'll say this about the show. If you like shows that have a good message, and this show definitely does, has plenty of them, especially some messages that are relegated to a specific episode. The whole hero in a hoodie thing has a message behind it and stuff. If you like that kind of stuff, there's plenty of that in this show. And it's very respectable. They don't make light of these messages that they're trying to get across. These messages are very serious. They make light of certain situations in life. They make light of the events that are going on in the show, but they do not make light of the message. You can tell there are very clear messages that they are trying to get across to their audiences and stuff, and showing that, hey, this is real and we got to change it. So if you like that kind of stuff, if you like the old school 1970s black hero movies, this is you. This is you. This is so you. If you like Marvel Comics, this is you. But if you don't like any of those things, it probably won't interest you all that much. But me personally, I enjoyed it. I binged it. I don't normally binge stuff during the school year, but it came out, and I was like, well, like I said, got my homework and stuff done, so let's cage it up. And I watched it, and like I said, very, very surprised. I'm not going to even tell you how it ends, which you could probably guess. Luke Cage wins. You can probably guess that's going to happen, but they took a bold move, which they didn't do. Seems like they don't do a lot in comic book. When the comic books are adapted to screen, whether that be small screen or big screen, they didn't kill the main villain. I mean, Cottonmouth's dead, but that was a different story. That just kind of that was a very that was a murder out of passion / rage event. Excuse me, but that was very unexpected. But they actually, he doesn't kill Diamondback. He fricks him up. He gets messed up quite a bit, but he doesn't kill Diamondback, and I genuinely like that. Same thing when I actually I would watch movies like The Dark Knight. They don't kill the Joker at the end. I like that, because, it's one of the things I didn't like about Spider-Man. I didn't necessarily like that about the old Batman series. They would kill off all the villains as soon as they would come up, and they were dead. Except for, who was it? Jim Carrey's the Riddler. He didn't die, so... but, in Spider-Man movies, the villains always die. Except for, well, Sandman didn't die, but he just kind of floated away into the air. But everyone else is they're dead. Venom's dead. Dr. Octopus dies. Spoilers for all of these movies if you hadn't seen them, but you should have been by now. They've been out for almost 10 years, 15 years, some of them. So, but it's just they all die, and even spoilers for the other Marvel property shows, all the villains die. So it's what are you going to do after them? I mean, yeah, well, excuse me. Wilson Fisk does not die. Wilson Fisk does not die. So, but most of the other villains do. They just it's just like, oh, well, they're no longer there. So who are you going to get now? Who's going to be in the show now? What are you going to do with them afterwards? Because I'm all for expansion and stuff. And yeah, some villains could be like, maybe you don't need them around for a whole series or something like that, but they could definitely contribute something. So, but we'll get into villains dying in Gotham because I have some things to talk about with Gotham. But anyway, what did you guys think of Luke Cage? Like I said, for me, I enjoyed it. Is it the best show I've seen? No, not really. Is it great? Yeah, to me, it's great. It's not. Oh my God, I need to see this. I need this in my life and stuff. It's like, yeah, it impressed the crap out of me. It surprised me because, like I said, I go in open-minded, but it was hard to fathom that they were going to come up with a storyline that would have surrounded Luke Cage. And in a way, they did it very, very well. It could have been condensed a little bit, and I had the same thing with Jessica Jones. I might do a video on Jessica Jones later on or something, but the same thing. It could have probably been a little bit shorter, and probably didn't have to be 22, 23 episodes, but it's a good show. It's a good show. But what did you guys think? Did you guys enjoy it? What's your favorite episode? Who are your favorite characters? Who are your favorite villains? Do you guys agree that the villains die too much in the shows? I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. Some of them, I completely understand why they get killed, but it's like, later, think future type stuff, I mean, they can go to jail or, get sent to purgatory like an Arrow. I know that's a separate universe, but still, it could happen. So, but, I mean, what do you guys think? Whatever you think, put us in the comments below. Don't forget to follow my buddy JJ's blog at 4comicjunkies.blogspot.com. Support us on Patreon so we can get a podcast going, get equipment, stuff like that. Bring more content to you guys. And as always, thank you so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next video.